So I really wanted to go on that bit, but I'm not sure if it's going to work, because one of the most important things when you're writing tracks is you need to leave space for things to breathe, especially on drops and breakdowns and things like that. It's great to have an epic drop and an epic breakdown. Look at it for the DJ that's playing it in the nightclub. He might already be at full tilt on the system and the compressor hasn't got time to catch up. So that little breakdown and that build up, if you just leave that little second gap, that breathing gap, then it gives the compressor time to reset and it makes the track sound a hell of a lot better in the club. A lot better. Right, so we're going to try the dap dap. That's it. I'll probably say about a 1.5 second gap I've got on the snares before it drops back into the main drum beat. As I said, because it gives time to breathe. It's a thing that's overlooked a lot in production, a hell of a lot in production. But just think of it yourself, when you're listening to it, it adds that little bit of excitement as well. But you've got to make sure things are on time. Don't be afraid of not having things drop on bar. So after your drum roll comes in and it kicks in and you've got your beat, all of a sudden it sounds rushed. Don't be afraid to push it half a bar over, because intensively that's how disco is. If you listen to disco music, disco doesn't conform to a 4/4 or an 8 bar or a 16 bar standard. Things come in where they shouldn't do. Yeah, that is right, but it's wrong. So it's my whole thing that it's off, but it's on, but it's in, but it's out, but it's in thing. If that makes sense to anybody, I think you need to roll up another one. Now, that's the bit that makes me happy, when we can do that. Sounds a lot more exciting, it's a lot more inviting for the person listening to it, because you've got to remember, I mean, this track at the moment stands to be 8 minutes 22 seconds. That's a long time for someone on the dance floor. You've got to have points where a DJ could mix out as well, that maybe your track's not going the greatest. I mean, it might not be your track, it could be the crowd. I mean, you don't know. As a resident DJ, you could... people know you for playing house, but all of a sudden you've got a couple of hundred people in there that aren't feeling house. So you've got to kind of mash it up and play. I'm not saying don't play house music, but maybe a little bit more commercial or something. So you need to be able to get in and get out. If you listen to a lot of my older remixes, like the remix with Sean Kingston, Take You There, that's actually got 5 mix points in it. And if you listen to it, I mean, the quality that's out online is absolutely dire. But I don't even have a studio copy anymore. That went down to the label. But that's got 5 mix points in it, because the reason being, it's like how we all started. I mean, it's the same as if you want to listen to a really good producer, listen to a good friend of mine, Danny Sunshine from Sunshine Records. He made music the reason why I made music, and I wouldn't say I jumped on his style, but I listened to a lot of his stuff. That it's got to be mixing, and you've got to be able to mix out, because sometimes it's got to be quick mixes, because some DJs don't come from the house orientation, where, I mean, back in the day, like I'm talking Ministry of Sound and things like that, so especially Louis Vega, Kenny Dope, people like that, they're used to the rain mixers, where the mix goes in, and you just set your levels and it flows in like water and it flows out. Now, a lot of the newer DJs that have, I'm not going to say surpassed, because you can't surpass because their style is their style. It's all choppy changey, and I think that came from the garage days, that it brought a little bit of the hip hop element in, that you've got to get the track in and you've got to get the track out. I mean, I don't mix like that because I think it's pointless, it's a waste and it's a travesty of a track. But look at your tracks like that there might be someone that's trying to get out or get in, and if you can make it friendly for them, even so much, I mean, like the old house records like Fonda Ray and things like that, when you were mixing back in the day on vinyl or something like that, you take, I tell you one you're going to know straight away, Baby D, Let Me Be Your Fantasy. You take the stabs from that when you're playing that, bow, 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 no, that's Sweet Harmony. Okay, I can't even get my records right. Check out mine and Danny Sunshine's remix of that. Yeah, Mark Knight did a remix as well. Anyway, if you can take them little bits of stabs and people can play them, and yet nothing else is going to clash in there, like when the track's coming in, they can tease the crowd with it. But if you've constantly got vocal in or constantly got something in, they can't do that. I mean, this day and age, you can set a loop, which is really cool. But who wants to set loops all the time? And I'm just watching my hands go up and down. It's like I'm playing the piano. I'll get the keyboard out in a minute. Right, anyway, let's get back to this breakdown. I mean, some people might think I'm chatting absolute poo, but I've been doing this for, I'm 36 now, since I was 18. I've been producing 21 almost professionally, I'd say. I've kind of picked up a few bits and pieces, and I know what I'm talking about a little bit. Well, I'll talk a good game anyway.